Manchester City got the first victory in the new Premier League season. Despite the difficult stadium that is Stamford Bridge, Pep Guardiola players controlled the game against Chelsea for almost full 19 minutes, winning 2-0. I would like to give you a little insight into what was the key to getting the victory and what made Chelsea ultimately lose the first game of the season. Each week, I will select one match from the Premier League game week and provide an analysis of it. This is my first video. Welcome to the Behind the Game.
4, 3, 2, 1. Behind the game.
Manchester City started the match in the 4-1-4-1 formation, which is very close to the classic 4-3-3, with 3 players in the middle and 2 wide wingers. In the defensive phase, there was a prominent setup with 1 forward player in front of the block of defenders and midfielders, in this case Kovacic and Haaland. In the attacking phase, depending on Chelsea's setup, either 4 at the back or Rico Lewis, set as a right defender, would move to the center, then Akanji, Diaz and Guardiola would move to the right, creating 3-2-4-1 formation. Chelsea, on the other hand, was set up in the 4-2-3-1 formation, with 2 players in the number 6 position, Caicedo and Lavia, who along with Fernandes, positioned higher up, were likely to control the middle of the field, creating a small game and distributing the ball between the widely positioned Palmer and Kunku. In the defensive phase as well as in the attack, Fernandes very often approached Jackson, forming an attacking pair with him and creating 2-2-2-2 formation, trying to press the City defense. Let's take a look at what was the biggest difference between the two teams in this match. Chelsea wanted to build up a position in attack using a small game with Lavia, Caicedo and Fernandes, which even worked up for them once, but most of the time Manchester City blocked most of the actions. Pep Guardiola players approached the pressure high using Doku, De Bruyne, Silva, Salvinho and Haaland, cutting off all the players in the defensive block plus 2 number 6s. As the ball came back to Sanchez, De Bruyne attacked the goalkeeper, cutting off the defender, Kovacic went higher and every player all over the pitch was covered one-on-one. Of course, this is quite risky on City's part, as it means the defenders have no support, which with any mistake create a convenient situation for Chelsea. However, they were ready for such a solution, and in this match it worked out very well for them. For Chelsea, the natural solution in such a situation is to look for the player farthest toward the goal, in this case Nicolas Jackson. He can try to tour with a defender on his back or hold the ball and look for support. This worked once when a pass went to Jackson, he turned with the ball and passes to Nkunku, allowed to create a good situation. Other than that, practically every time Chelsea had no way to get out from under their own half and either kick out the ball out or lost it after trying to pass to offensive players. City, on the other hand, practically every time created a numerical advantage for themselves in the first zone, which allowed them to easily get past Chelsea's offensive block. Depending on the positioning of the Chelsea players, Manchester City used one of their solutions to get out from under pressure. More often, Rico Lewis would come down the middle, creating the advantage in the central zone, but more importantly, opening up the passing line to the winger. This move caused Chelsea attackers to be completely lost. But the biggest problem was the inconsistency in the pressing and the lack of faith that it can have an effect. If you have a plan for the match, then you should stick to it, and when you approach once with 3 players, once with 6 and then with 2, it didn't look like there was any idea here, rather lack of it. In addition, Chelsea tried more to secure the line of pass than go high to press, which is understandable, but even that didn't work out well. Failure to secure the passing line to the winger resulted in Doku or Salvinho being left one-on-one with defenders, and that's how the first goal was scored, when Cole Palmer failed to secure either the center or side area. Doku once again got a pass and City took advantage of too much distance between the defenders and a complete lack of attention focused on Bernardo. Of course, there was a lot of luck involved, but it would not have been possible without the mistakes made by the entire Chelsea team. I was impressed with the way this young lad played. He was everywhere he was needed. He even scored a goal, however it was disallowed. It's hard to say whether he is more a defender or a midfielder. In the defensive phase, he was positioned wide together with the defensive block and consistently fulfilled his duties. In attack, very often he came down to the center at the right moment. Then Kunku moved to the middle and it opened passing line to Salvinho, Bernardo or Doku, which allowed to move the action quickly into the Chelsea half and create a convenient situation. In addition, he connected to the action on several occasions, looking for a space in the middle, where he remained without the attention of the Chelsea midfielders. He won 9 duels, including 4 in the penalty area. He did not lose a one-on-one duel once. Now, here is what absolutely smashed Chelsea in this match. If Chelsea had been as offensive on the pitch as they were in the transfer market, it is possible that the picture of the game would have changed in the second half. But between the 60 and 19 minutes, Chelsea did not have a single shot on goal. The lack of shot was not due to defensive positioning, because from around 75 minutes onwards, the formation began to diverge strongly. The players did not maintain tactical discipline and free spaces began to form in the center area. The distances between the midfielders started to get wider, which Kovacic took advantage of. Unguarded, he easily ran into an attacking area with a beautiful shot on Sanchez's goal. Chelsea were not a composed team. A lot of losses in key areas, 8 that resulted in opponent's shot. Manchester City had 5 such losses. 8 losses on Enzo Fernandez's side. For captain and central midfielder, this number is very high. Interestingly, both teams had a similar number of duels, except that the 2 best players at City, Doku and Haaland, had a total of 29 duels won, most of them in the opponent half. At Chelsea, Cucurella and Gusto, the side defenders had the most, but the majority of their own half. This shows the advantage City had on the wings, which ultimately helped them win the match. Chelsea didn't get off to a good start to a new season, so much so that even their boss, Todd Boehly, didn't want to see it through to the end, although the team has a lot of individual quality. However, Enzo Maresca will have much to do to make them a real collective that runs together and not each individually. And that is for today. Thank you for watching. See you next week.